Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Whether you've been with us since the beginning or you just now discovered us and you've been binge watching every episode, welcome. We're currently in October 1982. Let's see what video games are brand new. We last on the Apple II playing Nightmare Gallery, another Centipede style game. Let's see what our next title is. We're going to play next on the Dragon 32, a Welsh home computer, and this is Number Gulper. Let's check it out. It has numbers in it, so yes, it's another educational title. The reason I would like to showcase this particular educational game is because it has a little thing that we haven't seen with any educational title so far. Here's the cassette case for Number Gulper. It really makes me feel like I don't want to buy this game because it's educational. Add, subtract, divide, multiply using Number Gulper. Not associated with any other educational title so far. Do we have anything else to associate? We also have the cassette. We're going to pop in our Dragon 32 to play. And other than that, here we go. This is Number Gulper. This is by Applied Systems Knowledge sometime in the beginning of October 1982. So for this one, we're going to go in and we have to increase the RAM, or at least make the change for the RAM. And you get to see a little bit of what it's like to load the games if it runs on machine language. But you don't get the full experience of 1982 because we're going to fast forward really past this. Look at this loading time, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. All right, so what game do you want to play? I don't want to do the self-test. We're going to do the Gulper game. Pushing number 1, and do we want to play with joystick or keyboard? For this time, I'm going to do the keyboard, and then type in the number you want to make or create. If you wanted to create 9,999, no, we're not going to do that. How about lucky number 17? And go. It's going to build or draw in the play area for us. It gives us a certain amount of energy, but look at the character we get to control. At the very first time we've ever seen an educational title with Pac-Man. Look at this. Ready? And there he is, moving the most choppy of all Pac-Mans we've ever seen on the show. That is just terrible. But you're supposed to just make your way around the room, eating or gobbling up numbers to make the number that you decided on from the beginning. So very bare bones educational title, but very quirky that it's a Pac-Man game as an educational game. Obviously not licensed by Namco whatsoever. So like you do +7 and then keep going over here, and you just try to make the full amount that you said in the beginning and until without your energy going out. I know, Chiptune. Not only is this an educational game, but it's also performing just so slow. It's really not even fun if they want to make the educational game fun. So there you go. That's Number Gulper. This goes with another one of those educational titles that we saw that was incorporating Dig Dug as an educational game. But this one is, it's like they're really pushing for something to be edutainment. Number Gulper, though, is way down there. Of all the games we played so far, it's borderline in between the broken and bad range. So I'm sure someone got some enjoyment on this, way over there in Wales, but I'll say 1.5 stars of all the games right now you could play on a home computer. That's a lot of competition to go up against. Yes, I know, right? Yeah, way before Number Muncher. We haven't seen that one yet. And then most likely didn't inspire Number Muncher. All right, with that, let's press forward and see our next title. Coming up next, it is the brand new Commodore 64, released just this year, and this is Omega Race. Let's check it out. Omega Race is our next release. This one is something we've already seen before, obviously in the arcade in 1981, and then on the VIC-20 in April 1982, and on the Commodore Max machine in 1982. So this one is the third time we've seen Omega Race, Omega Race at home. But on the Commodore 64, let's see how it performs. Front of the box looks like the VIC-20 and the Commodore Max machine, showing the pseudo-vector graphics, even though they really couldn't do vector graphics. But I like how the front of the box gives you kind of what the screenshot's going to be like to play Omega Race. I'm loving the ratings that I see in the chat. You flip it over the back, and this is like a lot of the other software by Commodore 64. They just incorporate what you need to play the game, not anything about Omega Race. So nothing fun there. There's the cartridge we're going to pop into play. Omega Race. That's right, cartridges, just like on the VIC-20. I like the cartridges on the 64. It depends on your preference. If you prefer that wide cartridge on the VIC-20 or the Commodore 64. There's an example of the screenshot. We also have the manual. We're pretty familiar with how to play Omega Race, but let's see how they marketed it for Commodore 64. There's our loading instructions. The game description is you're an Earth ship invited to compete against the droids, the galaxy's most powerful force. Your object is to destroy droid ships and all the mines they planted. So just shoot everything and kill it all. They give us a little bit of strategy to play the game. And then controls you can have with the keyboard, obviously, on a home computer, but joystick and paddle as well. And there's our joystick and paddle controls. Paddle is really the way to go. So if you ever have a chance to play this yourself, play the paddle controls because it feels more like the arcade experience at home. There's our score and points. The highest score is a bonus ship every 40,000 points. You got to know what the points are in 1982. You can also choose, ship background and screen colors. Yeah, we've seen this when you hit the function keys. You can kind of change it up a little bit. At least I remember it finally on the Commodore Max machine. But most people don't remember anything fondly on the Commodore Max machine. All right, so this is official from Midway. Not that they developed it themselves, but here we go on the Commodore 64 Omega Race for the very first time. This marks our 29th game we've played here on Commodore 64. So not too many out there. Got to go through all the cracked versions, and this one includes an even summary. It's pretty much the manual digital. I'm going to go ahead and hit run to continue forward, and then we even have a trainer involved on this one. We're going to say no and no. Don't give me any trainers. All right, so we can do lots of choices here. I'm going to go with paddle controls and see how well it works. Already, it feels just like the Commodore VIC-20. It was a little more impressive on the Commodore VIC-20, considering we know the power of the Commodore 64. But it still plays very similar to an Asteroid-style game. All right, let's keep going. Oh, it goes back to the title screen here. Okay, let's see. If I try paddle controls, will it even work for me? Or we even have the function keys to if you want to use keyboard controls. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, this sounds pretty good. They gave it a little bit more compared to the VIC-20, but not by much. I like the feeling of the inertia it gives, and obviously the firepower, but it is kind of similar to the controls you'd have for Asteroids. Yeah, I thought that was weird too in the arcade, how it's almost like it's breaking the video game's fourth wall, that the box for the score is in the center, because the arcade did this too, and you had to work around the scoreboard. So it feels not like you're really in space, it feels like you're part of some kind of experiment. All right, so let's go in again. Yeah, because I can shoot it, I can even bounce into it. On the arcade, you even had this, notice how the walls show that I'm hitting or interacting with the walls. In the arcade, even the score box did that. Oh, they got me. So you can see the aliens fly around, drop mines. Control takes a little bit of time to get used to, but it does give you an experience that feels more reminiscent of playing in the arcade. And you gotta admit, they did a really good job making it feel like it's vector graphics, because you can't really do that at home. Not yet, anyway. It's coming up so soon. The mine still got me. It is still a lot of fun. When we played this on the VIC-20, I said 4 stars of all the games on a home computer. On the Commodore Max machine, I said 4 stars of all the games you could play on a home computer. If I had any gripe with this one, it's just because it seems very similar and plays so similar to the other 2 machines. Not like most people played on the Commodore Max machine, but this still is an excellent computer game. Really, really fun. It just feels like it's not pushing the Commodore 64. But to tell you the truth, all the other Commodore 64 games we played, this is the 29th one. This one is one of the best. This would be like one of the killer apps you would want to be playing right now on the Commodore 64. But if you already had a VIC-20, you know, you're not really missing that much. It doesn't show the power of the Commodore 64, I guess. Oh, and the mind got me. Looking over the chat, I see mostly average ratings, 3.5, 3 stars. Oh, that's true. Because of the thrusters, your thruster control gives you this boost, and it doesn't feel as slow as like a normal shift thruster. Notice whenever I want to move forward, that's because I'm playing with the joystick, so you have this little like boost or push. And the one push is only one speed. There's no variable to it. Oh, chiptune, I really hope it is. If I knew what the Vectrex was, because we don't know what that is yet. There you go, game over again. You time traveler, you. The gameplay or the user interface plays like the arcade where I just need to push a button and go. So you don't even need to use the keyboard if you don't want to, if you have a joystick or paddle plugged in. You can just keep going. It is pure arcade at home on your home computer. It's awesome. Yeah, I wouldn't hold this one just as high as we had. You know what, that's true. The control nuance seemed to be a little bit better on the VIC-20, or noticeable on the VIC-20, at least for thruster controls. I wonder if this was a little rushed to get out. If you wanted to be really nitpicky between the different ports. I don't know where that shot came from, but I guess I died. But if you're here last episode, whenever we were on the Commodore VIC-20 playing an Asteroids variant, you can really see the difference. How this one is a lot smoother, at least the way it's representing the ship, the way you rotate around. It is playing off the arcade, so it's meant to look like vector graphics, and not or more like the triangle of the asteroid ship. But considering all the other games we played that feel like Asteroids, I would give it to a few other titles, like, for example, Microbes on the TRS-80 Color computer, because that one had, I feel like it was closer to making you feel like you were piloting or controlling a ship. Ooh, damn. All the way down. I know, right? Yeah, it's a little nice. All right, so let's try it with paddle and see what it does. Will it even work? No, it does not. No, it does. I tried the virtual keyboard and it won't work. Yeah, this will be a very quick death. You have to be running on real hardware, Commodore 64 paddle controls. So what I've been told is the paddle is the optimal way to play the game instead of joystick, because then you get a little bit more nuance with how you direct the ship. But thruster controls seem to be the same, no matter what control you have. So I've seen mostly averages out there. I gotta give it to the VIC-20 version. That one was the more standout release. On the Commodore 64, this is still an exceptional arcade game, one of the best ones you can play on your Commodore 64, but there's not really much out there for the home computer. And there's the death. Game over. I'll go one more time with keyboard, just to see if I can go to some more levels. Ready, and hit it. And look how fast the thruster is. It just jumps you right into the game. The way they're using the music is gonna freak you out. Oh man, they gave me the victory and then I died, so I still lost a life. That was a really lucky shot on that side. Yeah, you could say the same thing, Ubicore, for the arcade version. On the arcade, all the scores there too, right in the center. So there you go, an official port of Omega Race at home. Considering all the games you can play right now on a home computer, it's still well done. It's still very good, and obviously without paddle controls or real paddle controls, you're not going to get the full experience. But I'm looking over in the chat, I see mostly average ratings are around 3 stars. For the VIC-20 and the Commodore Max Machine, I said 4. The controls seem to be a little bit better on those. So I'll still say of all the games that you can play on a home computer, 3.5 stars. Still around the average range, but a very well done home game to play. There you go. So after the Commodore 64, let's see what is next. Going from one home computer to another, here's the Apple II, and this is Penquirial Mazes. All we have for this one is a few screenshots, so let's just pop in and play Penquirial Mazes. This is Andrew Watkin, published by Sadistic Software at sometime in the beginning of October 1982. Someone please look up Penquirial, because I couldn't find a definitive definition across 3 different dictionaries. What does Penquirial mean? I don't know. But I know what mazes mean. We play plenty of those. Let's see what in the world this is. This is the very first game we've seen by Sadistic Software, and I'm excited to see if it's anything interesting. This one's another one really hard to come by. That's why we only have a few screenshots. There isn't a box or scan that I could find for this one. So this one has 2 different mazes. We can do a teleporter maze, or we can do a maze of keys. Let's start with a teleporter maze. So I'm pushing number 2. And let's go. This marks our 384th game that we've played on the Apple II. And I'm going to go with joystick. I got my Apple II joystick plugged in, and then we're going to hit E and enter the maze. Maybe that's what it is, Chiptune. It all makes sense now. All right, so the game begins, and you are the actual humanoid character. I can move around with the joystick, and I'm meant to make my way out of the maze to the exit. Now, as you make your way through the maze, you come across, in this version, random teleporters, just like you saw. And it makes you have to, I guess, make it mark on your own map to figure out where the teleporters are, because they're all invisible. You can't see them. And you make your way all the way around. What's curious about this is the viewpoint. Notice that it's using like an isometric or dimetric view. Watch this. This should be a teleporter right there. Yeah, okay, so we got another one, and it sent us to another spot. So it is a puzzle game or a maze game, but in a very different fashion than any of the other ones we've seen. This didn't take the let's make a 3D or first-person approach. Let's do something completely different. All right, so no teleporter there. We'll make our way to the top. It is freely scrolling all the way around, albeit a little choppy, but you got to admit, they're making a large play area for you to move around. And we just make our way all the way, trying to find the end of the maze. I don't know if there's a time limit or anything. I don't even know if this game was completely done. Maybe Sadistic Software only put this on bulletin board systems, and it wasn't a fully published release. But to my knowledge, this was a commercial release. I don't know, doesn't it feel like a proto version of something? All right, so we're still making our way around, but this viewpoint is still fairly fresh. I'm amazed that this is a puzzle game that has scrolling. I mean, we played a game called Mazogs on the Sinclair ZX81. It had kind of a role-playing motif, but it allowed you to move around a maze and scrolled like this, like a larger playfield. We also have Riddle of the Sphinx on the Atari VCS, but that really wasn't a maze puzzle. It was more like a puzzle game that allowed scrolling. And then Escape from the Mind Master took the 3D perspective viewpoint. This one's doing something different. Of course, we have all those 3D mazes that are out there, and this one is just a maze game doing something we've never seen before from a isometric view. This view we've only seen in a handful of games. Star Warrior on the Atari home computer, Treasure Island in the arcade had more of a dimetric view. And then, of course, Zaxxon. Zaxxon is the isometric game of all isometric games at this point. And then you could count maybe the Rubik's Cube games we played, because all of them looked like, they were isometric. But we had a few sports games that gave us the isometric view, like Super Challenge Baseball or Major League Baseball, depending on if it's in television or the Atari VCS. And then just recently, whenever you play Football Manager on your ZX Spectrum, that had an isometric view. But I'm just scrambling at a few games because there's not much. This is very, very unique. So it has that going for it, but you can see how the game works. It's such a large maze that you have to be keeping track of where everything is. It's the same teleporter there, and is it sending me to the same spot every time? Oh my gosh, what in the world? Look at this. And now we have a little island that we just landed in, and we have to make our way to the other side. Yeah, Marshall, it feels that way. This feels like it's a proto or a tech demo. Like it's not a real game yet. All right, so the warp should be, there's another one. Okay, so it is sending us to the same spots. And there's no sound. So Apple II, you don't have to adjust your headset. We usually hear something or music from Apple II. It is completely silent. This is also another game that doesn't have like a mission, or I guess the objective is to reach the end, but there's no rush. See, there's no time limit. There's no gas that you need to run out of. There's no one chasing you. This one is a very rare game in October 1982 where I can literally just sit here. We'll have screen burn, but I can just sit here and nothing would happen because there's not a race to get to the end. It's just so strange. It feels like I'm playing another outer worldly game right now, or a game that should be in another era. And there was another game mode too. You could have done the Keys game, which you have to wander around the same view, same maze, or slightly different maze, but you get keys and open up doors. I know, right? It is like we're having nothing chase us. There's no T-Rex. There's no time limit. There's no dots. There's no picking anything up. It's so strange to play a game like this in October of 1982. It's crazy. All right, so there's a taste of Penquirial Mazes. Very, very quirial, I might say. Of all the games you can play right now on a home computer, this one's tricky because there's not a lot of isometric games. There's not a lot of puzzle games that scroll like this. It's a totally new or bizarre thing. So because of a lot of the games we play, trying something new that don't really hit the mark, I would actually call this around 3.5 stars. But because of the lack of sound, because of how it feels like it's not polished or finished, I'm going to go for 3 stars. It's around the average range of all the games you could play on a home computer. I know, right? Yeah, that's true. It depends on how many mazes there are, how much challenge the maze is. That was only one game mode. There is the other one with the keys. So it's trying something different, but I just can't give it anything higher than around average range, even though this is far from the average computer game you can play. Yeah, great ratings I see in the chat. Yeah, mostly lower than average coming from the chat over there. All right, let's press forward and see our next game. Next is another home computer. It's the Atari 8-bit series of computers, and this is Pool 400, which I think you can play on the 800 too, but maybe we'll play it on the Atari 400. Let's check out Pool 400. This is by IDSI. This, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty much a cut-down version of Pool 1.5 that we already saw in 1981. This one is on cartridge. Yeah, there you go, 400 or 800. You need 16K to play. Here's the ad you would have seen in magazines at the time with all of some of the major computers in North America at the top. And I think we've seen this ad. IDSI has some really good stuff that's come out. And there's an example of the screenshot without artifacting on. We have just an alternate version. Let's pop in and play Pool 400. This is Howard St. Germain, Dave Morok, and Don Hoffman of IDSI, Innovative Design Software Incorporated, in the beginning of October 1982. Yeah, there you go. It looks like Pool 1.5. It's just now in cartridge form. So cool. All right, so this marks our 366th game we've played on the Atari home computer, the 400 or 800. All right, so I'm just going to go right in, press button to play, and then we would do enter the name. Okay, so we can put our name in here. Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. I'll take it, though. All right. Krana. You do want a 15? Yeah, we'll do it with 15. I want to see what the slowdown's like. Now, when we played this before, it was pretty good as far as pool games go. All right, so let's center the cue ball there. Back us up. Let's see. Do we need to go around the other side? Yeah, right here. And then hit it. Oh, no, that was the other way. So we had to line up the cue ball. I thought it was lining up the reticle for where it's behind us, but we actually need to put it in front. All right, so you can see down at the bottom, all the controls is done with the joystick. So you have your Atari VCS joystick plugged in, and you can pick the speed, going down to the speed, and then the English, everything. And then whenever you decide where you want to aim the ball, and then you can select everything else. I don't know, doesn't it look very Atari home computer-ish? All right, so did it freeze on me? What happened? I think it... Oh, man, did it really crash? No way. It couldn't have crashed. Oh, I think it did. Maybe because I put my name in. So bizarre. All right, we'll give it a shot again. Fingers crossed. Maybe it didn't like the cartridge. Let's try it again. This is our 12th pool game across all categories and all platforms. All right, so of all the games you can play out there, there's not a whole lot of virtual pool, and really good virtual pool. Pool 1.5 was actually well done. All right, let's push a button, and this time let's type in... There it is, nice. And then go. And do we want a 15? Let's say no. I don't want a 15 ball. Yeah, we'll play 9 ball instead and see what that's like. All right, place our cue ball. Now I know how I have to aim it up. Hit the red button, and then now you can see what I do is I have to line the cursor up here, change my speed if I want to, or my English, and then now hit the red button and go. I don't think I've ever crashed a cart before, Marshall, but yeah, I'll take it. Here on the live show, you never know what's going to happen. All right, so we didn't really get a good hit there. Let's go for right here. Can we even make it to the side? Nice. Okay, it worked. Got the 5. All right, I don't think I'm going for that. If we're playing really 9 ball, we need to hit the 1 in first. But this one has a few things that go for it. It has more balls to play on the table than most other pool games. So lots of objects moving at a time. Notice the physics and collision detection. It's very rare to see a game like this. There's only one other game across everything that you could play, even in the arcade, that plays better than this. And that was Snooker and Billiards by Thorn EMI Video on the Atari home computer. So let's see if we can make this one in the side. Yes! Okay, we got the 1. Nice. So not only is it functional as pool, it actually feels more like playing pool than any other game we can play out there. All right, so let's go to the side here and get this one. No way. We'll be seeing that one way later, Chiptune. All right, let's go for the 6. Nice. Made it in. And how about the 4? Oh, it's working. It's working really well for a pool game. So this is still really very well done. And an impressive feat as far as developing goes. All right, so it's not as action-packed as some of the other shooters we've seen. Will that do it? That'll do it. I'm not really going by the rules of 9 ball, but we're still having fun here. Let's see, can it... See, that's amazing. To do this on a home console, we really haven't seen anything like this or play like this. It doesn't exist. That's why the other really good game that you could play right now, as far as pool goes or billiards, is the Thorn EMI Video. So that one I would say is a notch above this, but it also depends on if you want to play pool. So Pool 400 is still well done. It's essentially just like Pool 1.5, but a little bit slimmed down. So I'll still say it's a great game. Very well done for the games you could play right now on home computers. Pool 400, I'd say Pool 1.5 was about 4 stars, and I was rating the Thorn EMI Video version of Pool way higher. It was one of the best games you could play on a home computer. But I'll say for Pool 400, the slimmed down cartridge one, it gets the job done. 3.5 stars. Very, very nice. Looking over the chat, I see, yeah, 3.5 from Steve as well. And if you don't want to play pool, I can understand, but you have to admit, it's really cool that we can actually enjoy and play a well-done pool game. And you can play with other people, taking turns, too. You don't have to play by yourself. All right, it's time to put our video game playing on pause. Or if you're on a home computer, hit the break key, hit escape, hit the function keys, whatever you need to do to back away. Or if you're on the Atari home computer, hit the space bar. Thanks so much for joining me on my quest to play every single video game. Be sure to check out the link down below for all the games we've ever played. We now have that list in order and in actual chronological order. So every now and then on the show, when we come across a game that we missed or someone told me about, you can now go down the list and actually see everything in chronological order. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we're going to the arcade to play some amazing arcade games, and one of them really brings home the bacon. That's it for today, and like I always say, stay on target. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are Perpetually Retro, and we will catch you next time.